Watch out, Blue Bloods. Make way for the New Bloods. DeLuna Coffee adds to their Blue Angels collection with their Fat Albert blend, a classic combination of Guatemalan and Brazilian beans. It is truly their roaster's choice. And hey, check it out. K-Cups of it, along with Voodoo and Red, White, and Brew, are buy one, get one free. So go check it out over at DeLunaCoffee.com.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com, DELUNA Coffee, 2 F's, 2 E's.com, promo code WarChant15. You get a discount. That's pretty sweet. Everybody on the YouTube listening to us, thank you. Hit the thumbs up button, as they would say in Ireland. Hit the thumbs up button. Show that you like the video. We appreciate it. Spread the word. We still are on iTunes or the podcast app on Apple devices. Let your friends know. Search Wake Up Warchant. There'll be 2 results. Tap on the one with the DeLuna Coffee logo on it, and then you'll be good to go. I want to tell you something, Corey, but then it's going to make everybody self-conscious, and it's going to ruin their listening experience. So remind me to tell you when we're done doing the show. Weird intro, but nonetheless, here he is, everybody. Corey S. Clark. Corey, how are you?
Good, man. Hey, just a reminder, you're supposed to tell me something at the end of the show.
Okay. I like
you
it.
go.
Well done. Friends like you. Friends like you.
Exactly right.
Love it, man. All right, so we got 2 more programs for you this week because that's how we work. Corey wants to keep grinding, no days off, living the mantra, living it, breathing it. And it's going to be Renegade Express, which is a very cool thing. Before we dip into it, though, you should check out warchant.com. It's the ultimate Seminole sports source. Our promo code's warchant30. I think what's going to be an ongoing potential series here, franchise, what I'm looking for, a content franchise. Spring exit interviews. Irish Schofel, managing editor, on the beat since 2002 covering this program. No gaps, whole time. Evaluating FSU football's running back position, which is something we talked about on the podcast the other day on the live show, thanks to Khalil Young. Shout out to him. So do check that out. Are you going to be doing one of those, Corey? Is this an exclusive Ira thing?
I doubt it'll be an exclusive Ira thing, but he hasn't told me which one I should do yet, so I'm holding off until he gives me my marching orders.
Okay. All right. Before we get to the Renegade Express, I guess this is not forcing the football because we have all these questions coming in. I was watching Get Up on Wednesday, Corey. I don't know if you ever watched Get Up. It's the
I don't know.
Panel show. I know. Yeah. Dude, it's one of the best shows left on ESPN. Part of the interruption is the GOAT, the undefeated champ. I know there's a lot of programs that people don't like on ESPN these days. Get Up is the closest still pure sports dude show they have left on those airwaves. And Mike Greenberg was talking about, if you're an NFL team and you have a first-round pick and you're debating between whether to take an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, you should probably lose your job if you're debating over that because the numbers are just so overwhelming in favor of taking an offensive lineman. The hit rate in his metric that he used and the people at ESPN on his show for the hit rate was basically you get a second contract, right? So I think most rookie contracts are 4 years with a team option for a 5th. So, for example, Jameis did not hit. They didn't renew his contract. Josh Allen for the Bills, he'll probably be a guy that they will re-up. And it was something along the lines of, I think, 67%, maybe even 70% of offensive linemen drafted in the first round are then re-signed by the team that drafted them. Meanwhile, wide receiver, 27%. And I'm thinking Calvin, Julio, but then, man, there's whoever the Patriots have drafted over the years has never hit. So it made me kind of think about Florida State and that one scholarship that's left out there dangling, whether it's going to be offensive lineman or wide receiver. And we did see kind of how underwhelming the wide receivers were. But to Mike Greenberg's point, and everybody who listens to this podcast, it's a Florida State fan that keeps talking about offensive linemen. It's just that the QBR of quarterbacks when all 5 offensive linemen won their assignment was like 75. And I think if more than one didn't win, or maybe it was one or more, didn't win their assignment, the QBR dropped to like 30%. So it's a huge drop off. And I've always been the guy that's been like, man, how often in a game, 80, 90 reps, and I don't know, 70 of those will be passes? No, 60 will be dropbacks because sometimes you'll scramble. I don't know. But anywho, how often are all 5 guys going to win their job? Because I know the offensive line is like, one guy doesn't do their job, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. It's like, well, you give yourself no margin for error. But nonetheless, I might have started tipping my hand towards a wide receiver, but I'm going to remain. I'm going to trust in Mike Norvell. And what he said a few months ago about they were probably going to keep that scholarship for an offensive lineman. I mean, do you still think that's the right way to go, or do you still think a wide receiver is the best play?
I mean, I think, everything being equal, if they're both, just to put a numerical value on it, they're both 3.5-star prospects. In my opinion, you go with the offensive lineman. But if you have a 3.5-star offensive lineman and a future first-round pick wide receiver out there dangling, you go after the wide receiver. Those are you can change the game a little bit and affect the entire offense with a breakthrough transcendent, not even transcendent, that's too strong a word, an all-conference future NFL player at wide receiver. Could be as opposed to just a steady Joe offensive lineman. But everything being equal, absolutely, or even close to equal, you take the offensive lineman, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, well said.
Know what I mean? Like you wouldn't pass up Kelvin Benjamin for Bobby Hart. You take Kelvin Benjamin. And I'm talking about going into the 2013 season. You take Kelvin Benjamin 100 times out of 100, and you make do without Bobby Hart. But if it's, Christian Green and Bobby Hart, or even Kenny Shaw and Bobby Hart, I think you maybe go with Bobby Hart. But Kelvin Benjamin is one of those, that year, when he was in shape, he was a super freak, couldn't be guarded. Kind of, you could say he won you a national championship. So that would have been the play there.
I like how you said super freak. Super freak. Trying to scramble and find this piece of paper. Because I was like, I had this piece of paper, and I'm like, I've had it for 3 years, I think, 2 years. And I'm like, when am I ever going to need this again? But I keep everything. I hoard. And I can't find it right now, which hurts my feelings.
Well, that's the problem with hoarding.
Yeah.
It stacks up.
Yeah.
There's no cats in there, is there?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So here we go. First question, Renegade Express. I wish I had the piece of paper so I could refer to it. It comes from Georgia Noles, 8-6.
Can you tell us what the piece of paper was in reference to, what it looked like?
It's coming up. It's coming up right now.
Okay, all
right. Gosh, Ronier. It's Ronier. I forgot his name. It's Ronier. Lawrenceville? He's somewhere in Gwinnett. Is it Lawrenceville,
I think Lawrenceville's right. Yeah, it is. Okay. It is.
All right, it's Ronier, y'all. Which do you think had more talented prospects? The 2021 spring game or Saturday Night Lights 2018? Thing is, I had the roster from the Saturday Night Lights in 2018. And that thing was, I remember laughing at it because I'm like, there's kids that are like in the class of 2021 on this thing. Like, what are they doing here? So, and I know, and I'll probably ask Michael Langston this on the live show, which you can watch the replay of. Man, I just remember that Tyler Davis guy from Clemson was there. He was really good. But I think there was many Rivals 150 guys at the spring game this past year. But I don't know. I mean, that Saturday Night Lights thing, there was over 100, man. I mean, I think maybe ultimately somewhere between 60 to 70 showed up. I think it was like, there might be up to 80, 100 to show up to the spring game. But I think the rain scared some of them away. So I would probably say the Saturday Night Lights, just because the sheer numbers were just bigger. But
probably. I wonder what the hit, it'd be cool if you could find that, what the hit rate was on that, as far as how many of those kids. Did the Thibodeau kid from California, did he come to that? That's now at Oregon?
I don't remember. I know he was at the Virginia Tech game. I know they had a 5-star, like the 5-star offensive lineman from Baton Rouge was there. I think George Pickens was there, I want to say. Who is it, Georgia?
Yeah.
There was some big-time blue-chip, top-shelf guys at that Saturday Night Lights thing. But I guess I know.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, to be honest, wouldn't that make sense, though, that it would have been more there? Number one, it was specifically catered to them.
Yes.
Also, it was 2 years from Florida State winning an Orange Bowl, 4 years from – those kids were still in high school when Florida State was playing in a BCS Bowl and winning it. albeit not against Jabril Peppers, but still, it counts. You had Dalvin Cook, Jalen Ramsey had just come through. 4 years earlier, you had played for a national championship. You'd won 29 straight games in a row. Now, juxtapose that with where this program sits in 2021 and what these last 4 years have looked like. To me, it's much more impressive, even if it's not the same star caliber as the one in 18, to have this kind of star caliber considering what the program has looked like the last 4 years. Like Willie, number one, he was an exciting new hire in and of himself, and he was this super-duper recruiter. So you had that coming in, number one. He had all these connections in Florida. And then also, they were 2 years removed from playing Michigan in the Orange Bowl. And you thought, okay, 17 was a blip. So he had a lot of good graces with him. Like, okay, Florida State isn't anywhere. Florida State's still one of the best programs in the country. That was just a blip. Every team has him. He's going to get him. It's Willie Taggart. He's got all this talent. He can recruit. Blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out. Norvell's battling a different beast, I think. So I would want to say this is even more impressive, the haul he brought in for that spring game. Again, let's see what the hit rate is. Let's get back to this in December. But to have those many guys on camp, all right, I'm in December 22 and 23 too. Those guys on campus for that spring game I thought was pretty impressive, considering what the program has looked like the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, man. Still try to find it, couldn't. But, yeah, to your point, though, I mean, you said it, usually Corey makes his best points first, and then he keeps going on because he's got, like, lawyer blood in him.
Right.
He's the son of a litigator, so he's like, all right, now let me make sure I cover every single possible base so nobody gets upset at me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, just they couldn't even hang out with the coaches. Like, they all came here. It was raining. They couldn't even talk to the coaches. It was a dead period. It was so the amount of odds that were stacked against them to pull that off was much more.
Did you see the video, by the way, of that? I think Travis Hunter posted it. Maybe somebody posted it for him going up on a one-on-one ball. I think it was Travis Hunter. It was a couple days ago on Twitter. And it might have been from this weekend. I don't know when it was, but it was like a fade. It was a fade route, and he jumps up. And he's one of those guys that jump so high, their feet start kicking. You know what I'm talking about? Like it almost looks like they're riding a bike. They're in the air for so long. It's ridiculous, man. This guy is he's different. He's built different. He is a different kind of dude, man. And he's 17 or whatever he is, and you've seen all the highlights anyway. But that thing on Twitter, he jumps up over the kid. The kid jumps pretty high himself, and Travis Hunter just keeps going as high as he needs to, and he gets so high again. His legs are like pedaling an invisible bicycle. He's up so high. Man, wouldn't that be cool to be able to do that for a day? I used to dream of that when I was in high school or college, just for a day to be able to jump like 44 inches. What that would feel like to go to the park and, me looking like me, nobody would suspect it. And then I'm just throwing down tomahawk dunks.
Crossing over, balling on cats, breaking ankles, skying over them.
Just going for alley-oops.
Yeah.
Up top. You can't, you throwing that, doing the, I'm cutting, throw it up top. Like all that stuff, man. Pointing up, like just throw it up. That would be just for a day, man. Just for a day, what that must be like.
Second question from Ranye. Who would you like to see them add on staff next season to replace Odell? What? Like, it makes it sound like it's happening.
I didn't know he was on the chopping block.
I didn't realize that was happening. I don't have a defensive tackle hot board right now. Defensive tackle coach, I don't right now. Maybe bring Jerry Johnson back from Texas A&M. Move him on
field. You could do that. There's Travis Johnson if he'd want to move to Tallahassee. He seems to have a pretty good life out there in Houston, though. I don't know that he'd want to do that. Look, man, there's a ton of – if you want to go the ex-player route because of Odell, well, Florida State's brand and Odell, there's a million of them that you could go get that were very good college players and played in the NFL and would have some cachet with recruits. So Jernigan, man, any of them. I don't have a hot board right now. Jerry Johnson is a guy that played here in the dynasty and is in the coaching profession, so he would be certainly on a list, I would think. But you got to have I do think you got to have some Florida State ties on your coaching staff. When you're a coach like Norvell and you're a place like Florida State, does it make a huge difference? I don't know, but I think you have to have some connection to the past. And I do think you need, because right now it's Hagans and Dugans, right? Those are the two the two former players. Correct. I do think you need, if you can, at least a few spots on that staff need to be former players.
Then we'll get Dick LeBeau out of retirement. He'll hire Terrell Buckley for DB's coach, and then whatever he wants to run on the inside, I'm cool with. So
I'm cool with T-Buck in any capacity.
Yeah, there we go. Next question. All right, we'll come back to that one. It's prime time. He's got life advice. So, not that I don't like it. Just we'll back end that stuff. WAC 169. I don't know whether to say whack or not, but WAC 169. Wake up, guys. Once again, thank you for what you do. Oh, it's our job. We get paid to do it.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure, too.
Yeah. Hearing Corey stories. Hey, that's a good segment name. Corey stories.
Corey stories. Yeah.
It is. Hearing Corey stories about his dad and his fandom, what is the maddest you guys have gotten at an FSU football game? Corey, I would also like to hear about your dad's maddest. Mine, WAC 169, FSU 2000 versus Miami. Down for most of the game. Winky brings us back, then we lose and miss another field goal. Awful, as I had drank damn near a liter of Morgan's during the game. Ooh, I'm thinking Captain Morgan. Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't be drinking that brown stuff on them high nooners, man. Come on. That's a rookie move.
Oh, my gosh.
Thanks for what you do. Go Noles. I'm most upset I've been at a Florida State game. That 2003
Maddest
Miami
or
game was
saddest?
pretty damn salty. Maddest, anger, rage, red.
I think for me, and it was actually my first date with my ex-wife, Shanna, was at the 1997 Florida game. And that team was undefeated. That Florida team was not very good by their standards anyway. They kept rotating quarterbacks. You had a lead. You got down to like the 3-yard line and settled for the field goal to go up by 4. And then literally they scored in 3 plays. And then Busby throws a pick right to a linebacker, and that's the game. And that cost them a national championship, cost Florida State national championship. So that's probably the maddest. Especially you can imagine Florida State being number 1 in the country. I think they were number 1. They were undefeated, so number 1 or number 2. And Florida not even having a good year, but just spoiling. The year after they beat them for the national championship in '96, spoiling Florida State's another bid for a national championship. You can imagine what it was like walking out of that stadium wearing garnet. It was not the most pleasant experience.
What's Mad Corey like though? Like, were you at the bar 2 hours after the game, still like talking about it? Like, people would move on and have regular conversations, and you're just like, I can't believe it. Like, what was on with the coverage? What are we doing on the back end?
Yeah, what are you doing, Samari? I think it was Samari. Samari, how are you just going to let Jacquez run right by you? No safety help, Mickey? He's the only guy on the team that can make a play. No safety help? Doug Johnson's going to throw. When Brandeis is in, they run. When Johnson's in, they throw. This ain't rocket science. Yeah, it was stuff like that. It was more in the parking lot.
Okay.
And it's just, but again, I that's why I hesitated to use the word mad. It was more like just downtrodden. Like, oh man, and they'd won a national title already, but you felt like you got robbed of one the year before because of Nebraska losing to John Malkovich in the stupid first ever Big 12 championship game, because Florida State would have pummeled that Nebraska team in '96. They had to play Florida again, and of course they lost that one. And then the very next year you play Florida, not a great Florida team. Werfel's not there anymore. Who cares? You still give up 30-something points to them. And so that was it was just the 2 years in a row of that nonsense.
That's good. That's a good point. For as much of a temper as I have, I don't know if mad is really one of the adjectives I would use after Florida State loses. I'm like hurt. I'm like Ed Reed. I'm like a hurt dog. I ain't all right. I'm hurt dog.
Yeah.
Like 2000.
That's why I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think, but because I've been around this fan base literally my whole life, essentially. I think the maddest that I've ever seen the fan base was the NC State game in 12. That's the maddest. It was not depression. It was not sadness. It was anger, like legitimate anger, because the way the game played out. Is this what Jimbo is? He's always going to lose one of these games a year. You have a big lead and you just don't score in the second half against a CarQuest Bowl team. Like, that's what you're doing. You give up 9 fourth downs and all that stuff. It was just, that was the maddest I've ever seen the fan base. I'm sure there's other times I've thought of, I'm sure the Bowden year at the end people were, but I think they were more apathetic. Like, genuine anger. I can't think of one that beats the 2012 NC State game, not off the top of my head.
Yes, I was going to say, like, for me, like 2003 Miami, although that was I thought we were back and then we weren't, so it was a depressive sort of gloom that hung over me. but maybe 2004 Florida, just because that was my last game as a student. I've said the story, we're broke college students, but I remember we somehow ended up getting into Sam's Club and being able to buy like 2 bottles of Moet champagne. I'm like, yeah, man, after party at the house, pop open some bubbly, it's going to be awesome. And we never lose to Florida. Like, we never lose to Florida in Tallahassee. And then, they lost to Ron Zook with White Sexton at the controls. I was mad.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was angry at that one. I was also really angry walking around downtown Atlanta in 2015 after that one. Like, I remember I embarrassed my friends. They walked probably like a block or 2 ahead of me because I was just gross. I was a gross human being.
After you talking about the Houston game or the block kick?
The Georgia Tech game. Yeah, the block kick.
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one too. Yeah.
How does that happen?
There.
How does that happen? All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to Matt. By the way, did you and Shanna, did you meet? Like, I mean, I know you guys were dating her, but like, did you both drive separately to Gainesville, or did you guys drive together? Or she drove up from Sarasota and you drove down?
A wonderful story. She was a student at Florida State. I was a student at University of Georgia. We met on what these things used to be called on the internet, like these chat rooms.
Okay.
I don't know if you young kids know this, but on the internet, they used to have these things called chat rooms where you could just talk to anyone from around the world. And, she was a Florida State student, and I knew a lot about Florida State, obviously. So we developed a bit of a relationship there, talked on the phone. She drove, and this is how long ago it was. This was 1997. So she had a class where she had to develop a website. So she had a website and had pictures of her on it. So I knew what she looked like, and she was, well, Stephanie, listen, this was 25 years ago. Whatever. She was cute. She was very attractive. Okay. And then she had, and this was 1997. I had no way to send her a picture in Tallahassee of what I looked like. I tried to scan one and send it. Didn't work. The email it was too big of an image. It wouldn't pop up on her email. So she drove over to, like, I described myself. I'm like, I'm this tall. I weigh this much. I have black hair. I had hair at the time. And I'm like, I guess I'm not ugly. And so anyway, she drove blind from Tallahassee to Lake City, because that's where we were staying the night before the game. Me and my dad. He had rented 2 rooms. This was a great story. He had rented 2 rooms. So Shanna drove over to Tallahassee to stay Friday night with me, and then we go to the game. But I could not, she would not let me, which is fair. Looking back on it, it's really smart. I hope all parents raise kids like this. She would not, even though we went to Applebee's or something, and when she got there finally at 10 o'clock, we went out to Applebee's. We hung out till probably 2 in the hotel room. Nothing, not even a hug. And then I had to go sleep in the car so she could have the hotel room to herself.
Look at you. What a gentleman.
Well, I mean, come on. She said otherwise she was going to drive back to Tallahassee and then drive back at like 7 in the morning to be there in time for the game. So I'm like, no, just go. And there were 2 beds too. But I'm like, no,
what?
that's fine.
Oh,
I'll just
God, no. 2 beds?
No, it's what happened. And so I went, but my dad at the end of his, right when I got to college, he started making some real money as a lawyer. He kind of struggled, but he started making some real money. Well, he had a Hummer. And I'm not talking about an H2. I'm talking about a straight up Arnold Schwarzenegger Hummer. That's what he drove. So that's where I slept, was in the back of this Hummer, in the middle of this, what was it? It was like a Quality Inn. It was a sleep in. It was some ridiculous hotel in Lake City. I was sleeping in the back of a Hummer, in a parking lot. And I'm sleeping, and it's like 7:30 in the morning, and I hear, "Hey, Diddy, there's somebody in there. There's somebody in there moving." Like, because it's a Hummer, so people want to look inside, and they don't assume that somebody's sleeping in the back of it, not in a hotel. So I wake up to this old, he's just a regular old aged guy, and his kid, his southern kid, going, just peering at me through the window like I'm in a zoo. Like they're at a zoo, and I'm like rolling around like, oh no, and I'm covered, I'm putting my hand over my face, and I hear the kid say, Diddy, there's somebody in there moving. So so after that, I'm like, you know what? I know it's 7:45 in the morning. I'm going into the hotel room and I'm sleeping on the other bed. So that's what I did.
Good for you. Corey Stories. What a
There
hit.
you go. Corey Stories. There's so many of them.
Fantastic. All right, you listen to that, so help us out here. Check out HelloFresh.com/wakeup12. That will get you 12 free meals as well as free shipping. You have the flexibility to choose your recipes that you want. You can also cancel at any time. You can pause. You can spread out your boxes, your free boxes. however you would wish. So do check it out. It's HelloFresh.com/wakeup12. And the thing is, so I remember James B., I think, was asking, hey, man, are these meals like legitimately sized? So last time around, I ordered the meal kits for 2 people. This time, I checked off the 4 because I'm just, getting greedy.
You and me both, partner. You and me both.
The meal kit for 2 was 2 legitimate dinners for me. So it was leftovers that I had like 2 or 3 nights afterwards, and they tasted just fantastic. So it's not. If you think this, even though it's like high-end food, it's an experience, as one of my friends says. It's not some sort of minimalist foo-foo, fancy small stuff. It's hearty, delicious food, and the portions are quite sizable. So again, check it out. HelloFresh.com/wakeup12.
Well, and this isn't going to be a great promo because I can't find the actual name of what we have. But Stephanie made us some burgers. They were like bacon cheddar burgers with like aioli garlic buns. And they had like bacon jam and.
Hey, hold the microphone up. We can't even hear you. Terrible.
How about
promo.
now? Can you hear me now?
Much
Sorry.
better. Much better.
So they were burgers, but I can't find the name of them. Like right now, I'm looking at the firecracker meatballs with roasted green beans and jasmine rice. That's one of the ones I got. And then I also got the crispy Parmesan chicken with garlic scallion couscous and lemony roasted carrots. All of that looks great, but I didn't eat those yet, so I can't talk about those. We did eat the burgers, and they were awesome. I just can't remember what they were named. But they were awesome. It was aioli garlic buns, like I said. It was like bacon jam. It was cheddar in the burger. There was some roasted, like sauteed onions. Just really, really good. Like a restaurant. It's literally like a restaurant-style hamburger. Better than a restaurant-style hamburger because you make it yourself.
It wasn't the Gouda Vibes burger? Get it?
No.
Gouda Vibes?
I don't think so. It might have been. She threw away the recipe after she made it, so I'm not going to go dig through the trash for it. But it was awesome, folks.
Corey said so. Check it out. Again, use the promo code WAKEUP12 over at HelloFresh.com. Back on the ponies we go. It's Matt AMCZ. It's Mark. He's in Naples, Florida. Wake up! I said, wake up! The missus and I played in our couples club championship on Sunday, a.k.a. the Divorce Open. Finished third. Double bogeyed 18, but avoided an argument, so it was a win in that sense. All right, that's good. Yeah, that's always good.
Speaking of that, can I talk on that real quick? So Stephanie took up golfing, this year during the pandemic, and so we've golfed with my buddies up here in Georgia a few times. And it used to be we'd play best ball, but it would be Stephanie and I versus my 2 buddies. And Stephanie gets the tee off from the red tees, and she hits it really well. So we should be close to even with them on the whites and her off the reds if she drives it well. But we were not a very good team. I'm not a great partner with her. I get a little testy with her because I see her on the driving range, and she's striping it right down the middle, like 180, 185, just bombs. From the red tee, you should have 90 yards going into the hole. Right. But on the for whatever reason, it wasn't really transferring over to the course. It was still a little. She was better on the tee than she was on the course. So anyway, we stopped playing with each other. And the last time we played, she played with my buddy, and I played with. So we split up, and we had a 1-shot lead. Me and my other buddy had a 1-shot lead going into the last hole, and they birdied it and beat us. So that was fun. And she made the only reason they were even in it was she holed like a 12-foot putt on 17 to keep them within 1. So she plays well with other people, which is weird.
I gotcha. All right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
What segment, Mark asks, do you think will be most improved in 2021? It's tough to pick one. I want to say wide receiver because we desperately need improvement there, but that does mean our defensive line or secondary is only marginally better because that wouldn't be good. Maybe John Papuchis produces a vintage Norvell special teams unit, possibly. Not saying that there won't be improvement across the board, but segment improves the most, and why? I mean, the obvious is quarterback with Milton and Travis, so I'm hoping it's the defensive line because a pass rush leads to better linebacker and secondary play. Thanks as always. Go Noles. Yeah, defensive line, there's just no depth there. So it's hard. I don't know. Although, I mean, was there really depth in 2020?
No proven depth, either? Right? Yeah, no proven depth for sure.
So, I mean, certainly I would think a combination of Kier, Jermaine Johnson, Coop, and Fabian Lovett is probably going to be, I don't want to say significantly, but I don't want to say marginally. Let's find some sort of middle ground. Will be better than Dennis Briggs, J. Rob, Kane Doe, and Coop.
Yeah.
So,
my vote is still the secondary. No, it's all coupled together though, right? Like a better defensive line is going to make that secondary look better. So you hope they're both better, but I just think even without Asante, I think you have enough depth, and hopefully like somebody like Dotson actually shows up. I know he's there, but actually is able to play, and these other guys take big steps, significant steps, and it becomes a strength of the defense. Because I do think, again, if they stay healthy, you've got 12 legitimate guys that probably that have played meaningful snaps or should in your secondary. 11 or 12, 10 or 11, somewhere along those lines. So just to get on the field, again, that competition should make them better. Iron sharpens iron, Aslan. I've said it too many times. Hey, by the way, I got Stephanie found it for me. It's the barbecue cheddar pork burger.
ooh.
With chipotle aioli. Is that how you pronounce it? Aioli?
Nailed it.
And potato wedges. I don't eat potatoes, so she made me some rice. She said she did like the potatoes, but that burger was the truth, man. That was good stuff.
Okay. You know, I don't want to say secondary because Corey said it. Defensive line, again, I think your starting four is probably going to be, sizably better than what it was last year. But if you're able to get an offensive lineman, trying to think here. Where's my boy Bobby Scott at? The Bobby Scott's kind of far down on this list. Where's my guy Maurice Smith at then? I'm trying to think. If you get somebody, man, Maurice Smith graded out at 38 on his pass blocking last year? Rough. I thought he was better than that. If you can get somebody like Devontae Love-Taylor, your offensive line is going to be good. It's going to be good. Like, no, you don't need to qualify it or try to diminish it. Like, you're going to have a good offensive line if you have somebody that's about par level with what Devontae Love-Taylor is. Because I do think Maurice Smith's going to be better after a full year starting. I think Bavion hopefully is going to be healthy and in shape. Robert Scott, again, this guy that went out there, was taking live bullets as a true freshman. And I think, Brady's maybe the other guard? Or no, Dante. Sorry, Dante. The Pope. The Pope said he wants to be a leader. He wants to lead by example. He's all in. So if you get a good transfer, maybe you knock in Love-Taylor into one of those guard spots if Dante or Bavion is not up to snuff, and then you have that transfer as one of your tackles. Robert Scott is your right tackle. Maurice Smith center. Man, that's going to be that'll be quite improved. So I'll go with offensive line if they land a transfer that's graded in the 70s at a decent group of 5 program, which is what Devontae Love-Taylor wasn't. Devontae Love-Taylor came in and graded out 84 pass blocking, 71 run blocking. He was your number 5 overall offensive player. Really, your number 1 when it comes to starters, because Toafili was 1, but he only played 158 snaps. One of the walk-on tight ends was 2. Webb, LaDamian Webb was 3, and then Trayshawn Ward was 4th. So I'll go with offensive line. Get excited,
okay,
everybody.
Good. I got you, buddy.
Get
I got
excited,
you.
Everybody. Old Dad's a Nole. Wake up. Can you guys elaborate on Chubba Purdy? He's gone from the face of the future of this program to I don't even know if he's on the team. Yeah, that's fair. Wish I could bring more information to you. What it does appear, though, is that he has been in Arizona, which is interesting when they talk about he's been in meetings. So maybe they zoomed him into meetings. There's something there. And I don't want to speculate, but at the same time, I don't want to be babe in the woods and be like, oh yeah, whatever the coach said's true. He wouldn't lie to us.
You think about it. I've thought about this actually. From Chubba Purdy's parents' point of view. So you go live in a scrimmage, which isn't normal to make a quarterback live, but I got it and I defended it at the time. This guy's a runner. That's part of his skill set. He needs to not, the first time he gets hit, maybe shouldn't be in an actual college game, the first game of the year, but he breaks his collarbone. That was in August. We get to April. I broke my collarbone before. Now, I wasn't a football player, but I broke my collarbone when I was 8. I was over it in 2 months. I was not then. I come back, I play a game, I'm out for the year, I'm out for the rest of the year. Then I come back in the spring, and I got to shut it down again. At some point, you start to wonder what is going on in Tallahassee with my son's collarbone. And I think that's so. Maybe you get I'm not saying there's any ill will between the family and the medical staff or the family and the coaching staff, but we're 9 months. What are we? 9 months since that collarbone injury? 8 months, and it's still a thing apparently. Like we saw him in the spring, and then he has to shut it down again. So whether it's the collarbone, whether it's something else, it's the way they talk about it. It doesn't seem like everything's kosher, right? It doesn't seem like everything is peaches and ice cream right now. Because why wasn't he there for the spring game? Well, why wasn't he there? Those are his teammates, right?
He wasn't there. We didn't see him out at any practice though. So
yeah,
I'm not saying he should
Rice
fly
there.
in. I'm not saying he should fly in for the spring game, but this isn't the NFL. This isn't like, oh yeah, man, it's the off season. Go, you can rehab at home in Miami. You don't have to be in snowy Buffalo. Although it's really not snowing in the offseason in Buffalo. But you know what I'm trying to say. To let a 19-year-old kid, like, yeah, man, you're good. Just go home for 4 months. I don't know. Like 4 months is way too much. Like for 60 days or something, that's unprecedented.
I think this is something that, look, but Norvell's, while he's not going to be completely upfront and honest, that no coach in this situation would be. I don't blame him for that. It will be if Chubba wins the job here at Florida State in a year or two, or if he goes somewhere else and has success. It will be interesting to see what impact these last 7 months have played on his decision or his career. Like, were they fed up with Florida State? Did he just need a break? Was he really upset because he was still hurt? Did they want a second opinion or a fifth opinion? Did he just need to be home? Was he homesick for half a second? I don't know. Nobody knows. And there's no way to know unless Chubba tweet or his mom. Isn't his mom the one that tweets a lot?
She actually, I think, posted on her Facebook page, and then whatever the Arizona prep writer is, friends with her on Facebook, so he took a screenshot of it. So I don't. Okay. So her Facebook isn't. I don't think it's public.
Gotcha.
Not trying to say.
Well, yeah, we don't want all you guys to go searching for his mom on Facebook. Yeah. That would be weird. Yeah. So don't do that. But yeah, I mean that's where when we found out about him falling through the plate glass table. That was the media out there. I mean, well, it happened when he was still in Arizona. Yeah. And then him coming. They flew for something. What did they fly for? Aslan, do you remember? Was that his commitment?
No.
When they broke the commitment, or he was in Tallahassee for something.
That's the other kid from Arizona. The one they have now flew in for his commitment.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard to keep all these Arizona guys.
But he got COVID. I mean, when he broke his collarbone, he's going to be out for the year. The Arizona prep writer guy was like, yeah, he broke his collarbone, he's out for the year. This adds to his off season of falling through a plate glass window or whatever it was, or table, and also having COVID. It was like, ugh. And then when he did get the collarbone injury, obviously in August, he came back and played in the season, and then they shut him down after the NC State game because Norvell said there was, something with the plate, the hardware. They're having an issue with
Yeah, and is that what we think happened again in the spring? He starts throwing again like a lot, and then another hardware issue.
I don't, Corey. You were there before I was. I don't think he was ever out there at spring. I know when I was there, he was.
No, he was. I saw him. Okay. I saw him. I remember because I remember thinking to myself, man, you got 4 quarterbacks competing here. It's not a lot of reps to go around. Yeah. I remember thinking that specifically. So yeah, he was out there, and then the one day he wasn't, and Norvell said they had shut him down again. It's like, well, man, this is the never-ending injury. Yeah. And so I can see how maybe. You, as a dad, as a parent, maybe you're wondering, and I'm not saying that's it at all. That's pure speculation. That's what we do.
I didn't know. I said I'm not speculating. I was just saying this all sounds weird. You're the one.
Yeah, it does. I mean, look, and I get it. We don't know the answers, but it is certainly not normal for a injured quarterback to not be with the team the last 2 weeks of the spring. And I don't think anybody could deny that. That is not normal. Yeah. And remember when Francois was. Where was he? Was he in Orlando for the senior day game? Yeah. And all the grief he got for that. He was injured. He wasn't going to play, but he wasn't there at all. Well, this, I'm not saying this. It's not apples to apples, but why isn't
produce?
Well, yeah, same section, right? Yeah. Why isn't Chubba at the spring game? That's not normal. And maybe it all works out. He shows up in June. He competes for the job. He learns a lot. And in 2022, he's the starter at Florida State. Who knows? But it's certainly gotten off to a rocky start.
Old Dad's and Noles, second question. Also on a football note, to fix the Doak experience, why on earth do we have not one, but 2 crowd prompts after a first down? One from the PA announcer wanting a first down, and one from the band wanting a go Noles. Multiple first down drive can drive you crazy. Pick one for God's sake. Cheers, old dad.
Well, that wasn't a huge problem last year, though, was it? Or the last 3 or 4 years? You haven't been having to save first down a lot. Yeah, man, I'm not.
Everybody does the whole. That's a first down or whatever. Yeah. It's a Florida State,
which is right, man. Hey,
everyone does.
I feel like Florida State's been doing it longer. It's more of a tradition here than it does in other schools. But the third down thing, just please go punt that into a swamp or the sun. It sucks. I hate it. It's so cheesy. Every single stadium in the country does it. You are not. There's going to be no one that complains that's going to send an email to David Coburn on Monday morning saying, "Man, I never knew when it was third down because you guys wouldn't announce it. If I don't hear it's third down, I don't know when to cheer." Mr. Coburn, do you understand that? There's not going to be one email like that. It's just so cookie cutter. This stadium does it and this stadium does it, so we have to do it. Yeah. I hate it.
Oh, I haven't complained in a while. Get ready for this one, everybody. We are now, I shouldn't say we, your Florida State Seminoles now are going to be jumping around on third down, rubbing their index fingers to their thumb like cash, money. Like, we used to make fun of other schools for doing that, like holding up dollar signs. We do all that
money
now.
Down.
We do it down to the T. So
it's crazy that those teams in the 90s, those teams in the 90s won so many games without knowing that it was a money down.
Right. Without
signaling to themselves, hey, man, this is the money down.
Yeah. They somehow made money afterwards, too. It's crazy.
Hey, Adam Fuller, get a team to a third down. You know what I mean? Like, how about every down is a money down for you guys because they were scored on first and second down. Sorry, I'm just a little – I still get mad about the third down, and it's carrying over into this one. Okay. And I'm an old man, and you can get off my lawn. I don't care.
We're pivoting. All right, let's wrap it up here. We got some updates. Drill Sergeant Porter, wake up. Quick update. Made the move from Cincinnati to Santa Rosa Beach, and I love it.
Nice.
I would think so.
Of course you do.
I would think so. Also, would you guys agree that Jordan Travis reminds you a little bit of Vince Young with his deceptive speed? Anyhow, enjoy listening every week to the best damn podcast in all the land. Go Noles.
There you go.
His words, not ours.
I think Aslan would agree with that.
I guess so. That's a good one. That's a good one because it doesn't make sense. My eyes and my brain have dissonance whenever Jordan Travis is running, along the lines of what would be with Vince Young.
Yeah, Vince Young was a little different, obviously, because of the body type. Like, he was 6'5", so his strides are longer. And, yeah, it doesn't look like he's running hard, but he's running past everyone. Jordan Travis isn't 6'5", so his legs have to move a little quicker. But, yeah, man, he's not Vince Young as an athlete. But, maybe a reasonable facsimile when you talk about his production and the way he can use his legs. Now, Vince Young stayed healthy for 3 years and won a national championship and some other big games. Jordan Travis isn't there yet, but I get you if the comparison's just about deceptive speed.
Well, Russell Wilson,
sure.
Man, it is. I joked about him talking like Russell Wilson in terms of just being kind of robotic and very not forthcoming. Yeah, man, like I'm a 49ers fan a little bit. I know my brother is. I mean, those Niners Seattle games for the last 5 years were always big-time games. And, yeah, man, like you think you have Russell Wilson hemmed up, and and then he's like breaking ankles. I think Jordan has more shiftiness, but like he'll get around the end and it's 3rd and 8. Everybody's covered. He'll scramble for 13 yards, and it's so effortless that it kills your psyche as a fan. I can only imagine what it does if you're a defensive coordinator or an actual player. It's backbreaking to watch it.
Yeah, I think the difference between those two is that Russell Wilson is usually outrunning defensive ends and some linebackers. Jordan Travis is outrunning DBs. Now, they're college DBs. They're not NFL DBs. But Jordan Travis is as fast as the DBs that are chasing him are faster. Russell Wilson's not quite that speed, but then again, Jordan Travis isn't the passer that Russell Wilson is. So there's a trade-off. But yeah, sure. And look, man, I think that's a nice weapon to have on 3rd and 4. Mm-hmm. The dude ain't open right away. Cam McDonald's covered. Okay, well, I'm just going to tuck it and get 9 yards here and slide down, or hopefully slide down.
If you gave me a 10-yard head start and a 40-yard dash, would I beat Jordan Travis?
Yes. 30 yards is, I mean, what do you think you could run 30 yards in? Even if you're having a slow day, I think you're running a 30-yard dash in 4.3, 4.1.
Yeah, I ran a 40 7 years ago, maybe even more than that, maybe 8 years ago, like at 5.2, which is embarrassing.
Yeah, what in the world? I should not be faster than you. I mean, I'm not now, but when I was your age, I was running like a 4.86 or something, or a 4.79, somewhere in that range. Remember, I've told you that story. This isn't another Corey story.
No, save it.
Okay, but I did end up one night at Leon High Track
because of Ira.
Because of Ira and Rick Jones, two big people.
No,
doubting
Ira's
that
medium. Ira's medium-sized,
but not understanding that. Okay, you know, I'm under 200 pounds. I'm like, at that time I was like 160 pounds, and I can move a little bit. And they just say, "There's no way you're faster than Rodney Hudson," because Rodney Hudson was the good Florida State player at the time. I'm like, I'm 100% faster than Rodney Hudson. I'm not the athlete that Rodney Hudson is, but he's 325 pounds. He weighs twice as much as I do. It would be crazy if I wasn't faster than him, as long as my legs worked. So anyway, I ended up at a park at the high school track at 2 a.m. Running 40s. But either way, I would think, because he'd have to run, even if he's running the 40 fast, we'll give him 4.52. You have to be able to run 30 yards in 4.5. You have to. You're an athlete, man. I've seen you. You're svelte. You work out.
I know, but
you're put together. You're lean.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, we could make it happen. That'd be a fun video.
I was trying to do the math on it, but
I think a 5-yard head start would be really close.
Okay. All right.
But a 10-yard head start, I don't know that Kermit Whitfield could beat you in a 10-yard head start. That's just 30 yards is really quick. Like you're just there and you're done. Yeah. So.
All right, second to last one. Bourbon is your friend. Aslan, are you saying that you need help forcing the football talk? Long, drawn-out, forced conversation about Florida State football is kind of my specialty. I have a great idea about how Florida State could save money. Instead of spending so much money creating a football-only facility, why not focus on sabotaging other programs' football-only facilities? Auburn shows recruits their recruiting studio, or rather their recording studio. Pay a hacker so it only plays Nickelback and Boy George. Do you really want to hurt me? Maybe program Clemson's flight simulator so it always crashes into Howard's Rock. Too far? No. Nailing it, Dave.
Well, no, that's great. I thought he was going to say to blow him up. And we're not about that. We're not about domestic terrorism.
Yeah. It's a flight simulator. It's a simulator. It's not an actual plane. Yeah.
No, but when he first said to go after other teams' facilities, I'm like, oh, you talking about like blowing them up, or you could take a bulldozer to them. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. If we have the means, well, yeah, what would it cost to get a hacker to hack into every football facility in the country? Well, they probably you could find one.
Not
no, exactly.
million.
I bet you could put them on retainer for $350,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What else is he doing? He's going into 4chan or something like that. Like you give him something to do, and so you give him $300,000, and he'd bust his butt, or she would bust their butt for a full year, just bringing these things down. Like the lights never work, or when you try to play film, it only shows film of the '93 Florida State Miami game.
Nice.
It's like, Coach, why do we keep seeing this direct snap to work done? That was 28 years ago, and we're at USC. Why? It's like, I don't know. Quit asking questions. All the iPads, they just play like Rick Astley or something. Anytime you try to get a play or a formation, it just brings up that, what is that Rick Astley song? The Rick
Never
Rollin'.
Gonna Give You Up. Never Gonna let you down. Yeah. Also, I'm planning on a fly fishing tour for me and T-Bone, that's his son, with a fellow Warchant subscriber. At the completion of said fishing trip, I would like to cut a promo video in the style of an eHarmony ad showing how Warchant can successfully match people up according to one's dimension of compatibility. Florida State football. Aslan, can I count on you to play the part of Neil Clark Warren? Okay. This will be an everlasting. You know, the commercials for eHarmony, like, oh yeah, like Trish.
Man, that's actually they should do that. If they could do, like, if T-Bone's there, he can film them in the boat together, and film like some B-roll of them, getting in the boat and baiting up and whatever you do when you can tell I'm not much of a fisherman. I assume you bait up when you fly fish. I don't know.
Hey,
I've seen a river runs through it.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, when you're putting the flies on there, and then you get all the B-roll, and then you have them each give like a 30-second testimonial, and then that's part of our Warchant stream. I wonder if anybody's ever gotten married from meeting on Warchant. I mean, we have women on the site.
We do.
A good number of them. Yeah. That's something that's another good summer project.
Okay.
Like lifelong friendships or relationships or marriages and even divorces that all started on Warchant. That's a good idea, but we start with this, with the eHarmony fly fishing trip meetup.
For sure. All right, last one. Life advice with Primetime 92. I'm going to go out of order in here. It says, wake up. Aslan, you were going to talk about your house purchase or some realization you had last week. I'm just reminding you. Yeah, because he was like, have you guys ever had something difficult happen to you and learned a lesson from it? And this whole house purchasing thing has been an absolute quagmire for your guy. I was under contract on a house. You put down earnest money, which is what you have to, it's like a down payment of a down payment almost. And I never had a good feeling on the house. I'm kind of being rushed out of having to move out of the Midtown office. I didn't necessarily want to leave here. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to get for a house, and I got way too ahead of my skis. I got that place. It was too big for me. It was going to probably be way too expensive. Just didn't feel good about it. I was not sleeping well at all, so I walked away from it. And turns out I found another house that's closer to what I can afford. I mean, I can afford it in a half, so I'm going to actually be saving money, which is what I wanted to be doing. And it's in the neighborhood that I'm living in currently, which I like because I'm used to I'm like 3 minutes from Publix. I'm 5 minutes from all the restaurants. Like, it's perfect. Man, I know it's a seller's market, but this applies to everything in life. Never, ever take the first offer. Never take it, no matter what they're asking, unless you can't go to Costco and fuss over stuff. But, man, even though it's a seller's market, like, look at how much the house went for when they bought it or how much they got it before they flipped it. Kind of do some rough math in your head about, all right, man, this is how much they've put into this house. This is what they bought it for. This is what they're trying to sell it for. Because with the asking price, I went, I don't know, I think like 10% off of it. And I'm like, I want you to pay some of the closing costs too. And the guy was like, okay, fine. So like, what does it hurt to ask? That's my whole thing. Like, yeah. The first house that I put the offer on, that was the first house I've ever put an offer on. The realtor was like, hey man, we should go full price offer. I'm like, well, what about, closing costs and stuff? He's like, that's a seller's market. You don't want to ask them that. They'll probably say no. All right, well then let them say no. Let them say no. I don't care. Let me try to save $15,000. And then I can, so if in anything, maybe you're buying a used car, and not even a used car, if you're buying a car, I remember I walked into the car that I have, it was like they were telling me it's going to be like $37,000. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, this car, the MSRP on it's like 32. Are you kidding me? And then I ended up walking out of there, I think, paying like 30 for it. So yeah, this has been a real sort of grind. And everyone's going to tell you that it's seller's market, buyer's market. Man, just let them say no. No one's going to walk away from stuff unless there's certain houses, certain properties that people bid on it and they're outbidding each other for, and that's madness. But if you have the money, you're probably not fussing over $10,000, $15,000. So, long-winded way of saying, don't let anybody kind of pressure you into being afraid of asking a question that deals with your money, your power, your livelihood. Because they're just going to say no, and then you just go ahead and you accept it or you try to do a counteroffer. All right, hypothetical question.
Well said, Aslan.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Flashback, you were both back in your late 20s. Gosh, I wish, man. What a great time. Starting out in whatever job you had. You get a random gift, $1 million deposited into your bank account. What would you do different? Would you chill till your money runs out? Would you pick a different career path? Would you move to Thailand and retire? I like this question. I mean, one of my best friends, mid-20s, late 20s, probably 26, 27, sold his website for $5 million, but I think he got $2 million up front, and he purchased himself a house cash for $400,000, and I saw him write the check to the government for however much he had to pay for the capital gains tax, which was like, woof, poor guy. He's doing all right. He blew through all of it. What would I have done, though, with $1 million when I was 27? I would have paid my parents' house off. I would have probably sat on it, or I would have maybe bought myself a house. I wouldn't have gone. I mean, my buddy partied. I was part of the problem too, so I apologize. But I think even 27-year-old Aslan wouldn't have blown through it. My parents had put too much stock into me about not being in debt and saving money that I would have. I don't know. I mean, let's just say $1 million. Let's not even talk about the tax situation of it. With the $1 million, I mean, shoot, it'd been like $30,000 to pay off my parents' house. I would have bought myself a house for like $350,000, and then I would put everything else in some sort of like 7% return investment. And I would take a trip. I would take a trip, but I definitely wouldn't have changed my career path. I don't think. Because I like.
No, I think I would. I would have stayed doing what I was doing, and I would have put it in I would have bought a house with cash and not owed anything, which is an awesome way to live. And then the rest would have stayed in the bank, and I would have kept doing what I was doing. I don't think I would have taken maybe buy a car and a house, and that's about it. But I still, I mean, $1 million isn't $100 million. Like as Aslan just pointed out, you could blow through it pretty quick if you're not smart with it. So I would have not really changed my lifestyle much other than a new house, which I guess is a pretty big change of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I want a moat. How much does a moat cost, you think?
A boat or a moat around your house? A moat.
A moat. Yeah.
I don't know.
With a drawbridge.
All right, now
that's probably $50,000, right? You could probably get one for $50,000. So that would have been the luxury item I bought is a moat.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Cause when we played when like Powerball would get up to whatever it would get up to, did Powerball ever hit billions, or was it always just like 800 million?
I feel like lately, like in the last year, I think it got to like $1 billion, or it was close to it, like so 800 million or 1.2 billion.
Yeah, or something. My friends always talk like, all right, if you win, if we win, what are we going to do? And I was like, we're all going to, we'll get a private jet. We're going to Vegas for a weekend. But with $1 million, you can't do that. Like $1 million, you could be like, all right, I'll get us a couple hotel rooms at the Bellagio. Yeah. And if y'all want to come out, like I got you. But yeah, I probably would have done some with my friends like that. But I couldn't see myself like buying jewelry and buying all sorts of crazy gadgets and stuff, and just only having like $15,000 left after like a year. I would just be like, what the hell did I just do with myself?
Hey, you know what you got to do? You got to make your money work for you, Aslan.
That's right.
You got to make money, you just get that in there, get that interest going every year. And pretty soon that 1 million is 1,055,000. It's slow, it's incremental, but pretty soon you're making real money off that.
Yeah, man. See, the whole move to Thailand and retire thing, like I guess that sounds, some people can do that. Like, I'm not a big jingo-y guy. Like I love America, man. I'm here. Like I've been to the motherland. I know my parents came here. And a lot of people say, everyone that loves America they've never been anywhere else to see what it's like. They might like somewhere else better than America. I'm like, no, I don't think I could live. Like I could not live 15 years abroad somewhere. But I have friends that'd be like the dream, especially lots of women I know. Most of the women I know, that would be the awesomest thing ever. Like if they could we can live abroad for 10 years.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I think I'm too big of a sports fan.
Yeah, I need.
You know what I mean? Like I can't live in France.
I need game day. Yeah,
that's all right. I think I can make do with that. But like if I was living in France and I can't watch college football, maybe it's different now because of streaming services. You would be able to. But that's always been my biggest hold up when it comes to something like that. Is how am I going to keep up with sports?
Well, it'd be like 3
if I'm living overseas,
like a noon game.
That too,
I think would be like 4 a.m. or something. The Miami, all the Miami games you've been watching at 4 in the morning. Paris.
The beauty of this country, though, is that any kind of climate you want, any kind of lifestyle you want, it is available to you. If you want to go be a rancher on 1,000 acres, well, we got the Dakotas for you, man.
Right.
Have at it. There's plenty of land that probably no human eyes have ever seen up there. Montana, those places. If you want to go live in the rainforest with Ralph, we got Hawaii. If you want to go live with all the crazy criminals, we got Alaska in the snow. Like we got in fishermen. Like we got every type of climate, lifestyle that you want right here in this country.
Well said.
That's what I was thinking. The one thing I could do is if I got a ton of money, I could move to like Santa Monica, Newport Beach, that area in Southern California.
Let's go.
Real quickly.
Yeah, man.
Hawaii, I was thinking about it. I would like it, but I just would feel too stuck. Like, I want to go away. Okay, here's another 6-hour flight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like to get anywhere. But Hawaii would be awesome. I think I could make it work out there. But I feel like Santa Monica, Newport Beach. That's if I hit the lottery, and I didn't really have I could still see Brady when I needed to, and my mom when I needed to. That's where I'd go.
All right,
They come with me.
Southern California, the weather is everything it's cracked up to be. It's
incredible.
It's amazing. All right, that's a wrap on the show, but we will be back tomorrow with the remaining questions in the Renegade Express mailbag. Do stay connected. Check out warchant.com for the latest on all things Florida State. Thanks for listening. He's Corey Maslon. It's been Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.